This is KGW News at noon.
The Oregon Convention Center will give out vaccine shot number 500,000 today. That's 500,000 shots at that site alone. And that's also our top headline this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Carney. Governor Kate Brown showed up today to thank staff and volunteers there. Legacy, OHSU, Kaiser Permanente, and Providence all worked together to create that mass vaccination site. It's been open now for nearly 5 months, and at its peak, it was vaccinating around 8,000 people a day.
This wouldn't have happened without an amazing amount of partners and incredible thousands and thousands and thousands of volunteers. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for your hard work and your patience and your persistence.
The convention center will be giving first doses through May 27th and continuing with second doses through June 19th. You no longer need an appointment to get a shot, by the way. Again, it'll continue for just a few more weeks now. You may also be wondering where things stand with masks in Oregon. Governor Kate Brown says she is not dropping the mask mandate despite the CDC changing its guidelines. She told media after that event at the convention center that we can expect an update from the Oregon Health Authority later today. And this was her response when pressed about a possible vaccine passport.
We are not going to move forward with that approach. As I said, I don't have a concern about businesses moving forward with vaccine verification programs. Our goal here at the Oregon Convention Center is to get vaccines in arms.
Of course, we'll keep you posted when the Oregon Health Authority issues its new mask guidance later this afternoon. We also have new numbers to pass along today. These just in from the Oregon Health Authority showing that Multnomah County has actually now vaccinated enough people to move to the lower risk category. Here's a map that shows the percentages of people 16 and older who are either fully vaccinated or have had at least one shot so far. This is in several different counties, but again, we're focusing on Multnomah because it just reached the 65% threshold today, which means they can go to lower risk. The county plans to submit a plan on Friday, and again, hoping to move to lower risk by next Friday, May 28th. The other two counties you see there in green, that's Hood River and Benton counties. They are also above 65% at this moment. And Washington and Lincoln counties, we want to mention them because they're not in green yet, but those two counties are very close to that same 65% mark. Getting into the lower risk category, by the way, means up to 50% capacity indoors for restaurants, theaters, gyms, outdoor entertainment venues, things like the zoo, for example. And lower risk also lets businesses and venues stay open until midnight. Also today, 4 counties in Washington are moving from phase 2 of reopening to phase 3. We're talking about Cowlitz, Pierce, Ferry, and Whitman counties. They all rolled back to phase 2 last month after recording high case counts, but again, they are now moving back to phase 3, which means indoor businesses can operate at 50% capacity. Last week, Governor Inslee made June 30th the statewide reopening date for all of Washington. All right, with all that behind us, it is time to check in with Mr. Rod Hood. Rod, we're going to set you up here with this shot from the coast, a live look from our Cannon Beach sky cam. We see the clouds in the sky there. Some said maybe it was raining earlier, but it looks pretty dry there right now, Rod.
Yeah, they've had some showers today. Most areas, in fact, have been back and forth, kind of darkening clouds, maybe a shower, and then back to sunshine. And we expect overall this pattern to continue this afternoon. You can see the showers are feeding in still off the Pacific, so there's that shower chance at the coast continuing. And then they run all the way up into the Cascades, where it's been snow generally above 4,000 feet, but it's been light stuff up in the Cascades today. Closer look at the radar. We had a lightning strike up around Olympia just about 15 minutes ago. None of that here so far. But in yellow, there's a heavier shower outside of King City, and there's a heavier shower getting ready to clip maybe the far side of the West Hills or the north end of the West Hills. We saw Cannon Beach. You drop down to Depot Bay. It's a similar picture right now. This is the view from the Channel House. I love this strip of Depot Bay, and you can see partly cloudy skies up top. Looks pretty nice. Downtown Portland is really a similar scene. We're at 58 degrees. We might get warmer than 62. It depends on sun and clouds and showers filling in, and then about 56 at 8 p.m. Again, maybe you catch a downpour this afternoon. Most of us probably will not. Had one person chime in saying they had 6/100ths of an inch of rain today. maybe you could be that lucky too. Back to you.
All right, Rob, we do want to get back to some of our top headlines this afternoon right now. We start with Portland's rise in gun violence, which took another bad turn last night. Officers from all over the city swarmed Legacy Emanuel Hospital when 4 people showed up there with gunshot wounds. So this is what it looked like outside the hospital last night. Viewers reached out to us. They were wondering what the heck was going on there. So we reached out to police. Police got back to us this morning and said this all started around 10 o'clock last night when a shooting victim showed up at the hospital. And then minutes later, 3 more victims showed up there. A large crowd followed, fights broke out, and that's when police, again, from all over the city, arrived to try to calm that situation down. 2 hours later, police cleared the scene. The shooting happened here at Swan Island at this McDonald's on Going Street, and you can see right now all those bullet casings that are marked on the ground there. We don't know yet if there have been any arrests, but of course we're going to keep you updated as we learn more. An earlier morning fire ripped through this apartment complex in Tigard. You can see the damage through this video. This happened around 5:30 at Sunflower Apartments on Southwest 135th Avenue. Witnesses say they heard explosions coming from one of the apartments. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue says everyone was able to make it out safe, but 3 apartments were destroyed. They say a propane heater on an outdoor patio caught fire, and the propane fueled the huge flames. The Red Cross is now helping about 24 people from that complex find temporary housing. 911 transformed how police and fire departments respond to emergencies. Now, the state of Washington hopes a new 3-digit number will do the same for people experiencing a mental health crisis. Ted Land tells us what it will do and how soon we could actually see it in Washington.
Remember the digits 988.
You have reached the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Mental health advocates and lawmakers hope those 3 numbers will someday become as memorable and effective as 911.
If you are in emotional distress or suicidal crisis or concerned about someone who might be, we're here to help.
Governor Jay Inslee recently signed into law a bill designating 988 as the state's suicide prevention hotline, part of a nationwide system. It launches next July and will tie together in-state call centers with 911 operators, police, and behavioral health providers to connect people in distress with immediate help.
For most people, the only number they know to call is 911. This may end up having an officer come to their house. Officers are not social workers, nor do they want to be.
A small tax on phone lines will pay for an expansion of mental health response services and better training for people answering crisis calls.
You can't make it hard for people. You have to make it easy, and you have to make them trust the response that's behind calling that number.
Jen Stuber is a UW professor who studies suicide prevention efforts and says Washington's 988 system will be much more robust than the current hotlines.
It would be a bad outcome to just have people bounce to a national call center to be assessed, to be told they need help. That's not what we're looking for. We're really looking to connect people to services they need when they're in crisis and then longer term.
One more detail on this story. The state, we know Washington, is spending about $95 million to build up the 988 system over the next several years. And again, it doesn't launch until July of next year.